Hey guys, gals, and everything in between. I'm Ken of Armstar Games, and today I'm going to be going over what I believe are the cards from the YUGIOH ban list that could be moved to the unlimited list. Now, I'm not a competitive player. I'm sure there's horrible loopholes that will ruin the game for people who aren't like me and don't care. I don't care about the meta. I don't care about winning championships. I don't go to tournaments. I play the game because I like to play the game. So, if that means there's ridiculously annoying and broken combos, then so let there be annoying and broken combos. But don't let it be the meta. Now, first off is Astrograph Sorcerer. I don't understand. Pendulums, in my opinion, are weak. I don't like pendulums, but they need more support back, I guess. So that's here. Next, we have there we go. Cyberjar. Cyberjar, honestly, it's a flip effect which makes it slow. And yeah. Destiny Hero Malicious is back at 3 because, let's be honest, very few people actually play it. At least not that I've seen. Dino Wrestler Pankratops. It helps dinos, which I guess are meta right now, but it's a good general hand trap-ish card. So yeah, back to 3. Fiber Jar. Again, it's a flip monster, which makes it extremely weak. Yes, each shuffles all cards from their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck, and then draw 5 cards. It's a game restarter. So what? You know how many people stall out a game with cards that are annoying? People want to complain about other cards. Well, this solves a lot of the problems when it just clears them from the board. Next is Graph Malabyrinths of the Burning Abyss. I can't pronounce its name apparently, but I don't see an issue with it personally. Next, Grinder Golem. It can't be normal summoned, must be special summoned, yeah, all the normal things, and then it gives you your opponent tokens. Big deal, it doesn't matter. No one would play it now, in my opinion. Lunalight Tiger, since Lunalights no longer exist at all. No one plays them. They need their ace card back to 3. Now here's one I'm sure I'm going to get roasted for because I know the people hate it. Masterpiece, the true Draco Slaying King. I have no problem with it. I don't believe the effect is broke. Again, I'm not a meta player. I will say that as many times as it takes for people to understand. I am a collector more than a duelist. Now I said this one was bad. The next one, I'm sure everyone will put hate comments on this video because of it. It is Maxi back to 3. I think Maxi is a wonderful card, personally, and I have no issues with it. People who dislike it just don't like the game. That's that simple in my opinion. You're fine with all these other broken cards that completely stop a person playing, yet you're not okay with a card that lets people draw. What's worse? Can't do anything, and I'm stuck playing solitaire against my opponent, or, whenever they do something, I at least get cards into my hand so I have a chance at coming back. Which one sounds like a better choice? Next is Mind Master. This is a bit of a biased one. I know it's broken because it doesn't have a once per turn on its effect, but I loved the original Psychic types of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I just did. They were my favorite set in 5Ds. The 5D era, obviously. So, yeah, it's back to 3. Next, Morphing Jar. And yes, I've unlimited pretty much everything that makes Empty Jar, and I did that on purpose. Performance Mage Plush Fire. Personally, it's cute. And personally, I again think that the Pendulums need better cards again. Next, Performapal Monkey Board. This is more of a meme card, honestly. I know so many people hate Performapal Monkey Board, and personally, I don't have an issue with it. Next, Performapal Skull Crobat Joker. Okay, so it used a Pokemon's name in its thing, first off. So, yeah, back to 3. Next, Phoenix Cluster Amaryllis. Because it was banned before it even got released in the TCG. You didn't even give the card time to shine, darn it. Bring it back to 3 and no one will play it. Next, Substitute, because frogs need to be even stronger. Yata Garasu, because nowadays it really wouldn't do anything. Zodiac Rapier, because limited to 1, it does nothing. Its effect does not work. Its effect requires a second one of it to use its effect. Don't print a card that you're going to have to ban, that you're going to have to limit to 1 if you can't even use its effect. That just ticks me off. It's just bad game design and card design. Don't punish the people who like those cards because the company itself could not make the card work properly. Next, a hero lives because heroes are kind of dead at the moment. Call It by the Grave back to 3 because there was no reason for it to get hit other than for Konami to make cells on a new card that does the exact same thing more or less. Card Destruction at 3 because I think it'd be funny to be able to mill my opponent. Card of Demise at 3 because it's a good card and it will be funny. So many people would hate most of these spells and traps that I have put back to 3 in my ban list. Or should I call this the unbanning list? Because all these cards are going to unlimited in my wonderful future of the game. Card of Safe Return because personally I don't see an issue with it. You've got other cards that do the exact same thing. So yeah. It just ruins graveyard effects, but by the time most graveyard effect decks go off, your opponent would have drawn their entire deck anyways, so you don't get to play, and you just lose from self-milling. Chain Strike, because Burn needs to be strong again. Change of Hearts, because it's my favorite card ever printed. Most people would say, okay, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, stuff like that was their favorite card from the original sets. No. Change of Hearts was my favorite card, plain and simple. Chicken Game, because personally I don't see an issue with it nowadays. Cold Wave to shut down extremely long spell effects. Not bad in my opinion. Compensation to disrupt the opponent's cards. Delinquent Duo, because, again, disruption. If you haven't noticed, I would love to play a very mill deck. Like milling my opponent's hand, milling their deck. That's the type of cards I enjoy. That's the type of game I enjoy. So when Yu-Gi-Oh keeps hitting every card that lets you mill your opponent, it really does tick me off. Something like you would not believe. Dimensional Fusion, because you just pay life points to special summon as many removed from play monsters as possible. Dimensional Fissure, because I love the idea of making my opponent banish all the cards I would be milling from them, so they can't use their graveyard effects, because graveyard effects are stupid and shouldn't exist. Your graveyard is supposed to be, oh, they're gone, not another freaking hand. Final Countdown to 3, because, well, let's be honest, no one would play it even at 3. Foolish Burial to 3, because, again, graveyard effects are good now, so give people the ability to run them. Giant Trinade to return all spells and traps to the hand, because it would be a good way to reset the board and give an underdog a chance to come back. Graceful Charity, because technically it's a neg1 in card advantage. That's all there is to it, except for nowadays the graveyard ruins that, because of all the graveyard effects. Harpy's Feather Duster, it gets played, but not as much as you would expect. It can go back to 3. Heavy Storm can go back to 3 as well. They're literally the same cards, basically. Into the Void can go to 3, because when I read it, I saw nothing wrong with it at all. It just makes Infernoids, no, Infinity, it's a 5Ds era where you want to have all your cards out of your hand. That deck makes it better, I guess. Mass Driver, because, again, I like Burn. Metamorphosis, because, yes, while it targets fusions, most fusions don't need it anymore. Mind Control to 3, because it's Mind Control. It really doesn't do much, and so many cards are just immune to cards now that it really wouldn't matter. Monster Reborn to 3, because Again, you might as well, since every card in the graveyard is basically a resource at this point, might as well let people actually summon them back. One Day of Peace. Again, this has to do with me wanting to be able to mill my opponent, slow down their games, make it where they can't hurt me, that type of thing. 1 for 1 to 3. That's simple. 1 for 1 to 3, and just because it just helps speed up decks. Now here's one I'm sure everyone's going to say, no, it can't be unbanned. Painful Choice to 3, because if you unlimit Dimensional Fissure and another card later on the list, guess what? Most of those cards are going to be banished, so it won't matter. Now, okay, let me explain. Pot of Greed to me is not broken. So many people complain about Pot of Greed, yet you have other cards that let you draw more if they're archetype specific. So why is it certain archetypes get to have like a +5 draw power effect, and yet non-meta decks, non-archetype decks cannot have a +2? There is absolutely no reason for Pot of Greed to be banned unless you're going to ban every other draw power card in the entire game. Premature Burial just lets you resummon a monster from the grave, nothing big there, by paying 800 life points. Raigeki to 3 because it's a board clearing effect, and it's a non-targeting effect, I'm pretty sure. Reasoning to 3 because I actually think Reasoning is a fun card to play if you like gambling, which I do like gambling. I'm just very bad at it, so I always lose. Scapegoat to 3 because it's just a token maker, and yes, while for link monsters that helps, for everything else it kind of just bleh. Slash Draw to 3 because right now as it is, you can't even resolve part of its effect. Excuse me. Because you can't draw Slash Draw from Slash Draw at 1 copy of Slash Draw in a deck. Snatch Still to 3 so you can take cards, I guess. But you have to give your opponent 1,000 life points, so that's no big deal. Terraforming to 3 because why not? Every set has broken field spells. Why not just let them get them faster? Plus, it will make Mystic Mind even stronger, which will tick off so many other people that I would love it. The Forceful Century, because if Delinquent Duo is coming to 3, the Forceful Century might as well come to 3 along with them. Then we have Trickstar Light Stage. I don't think anybody would complain about this one coming to 3 because it's not that good. Trickstars are not good anymore. Upstart Goblin to 3. It's a 1 for 1 card and your opponent gains 1,000 life points. Honestly, I could see it being more useful for the 1,000 life point gain for cards that require your opponent to have more life points than you than for the actual drawing. Zodiac Barrier, because Zodiacs need more power again, bring it back to 3. Imperial Order to 3, because it would be funny. It would. You want to talk about getting rid of cards like Mystic Mind and stuff? Guess what? This does it. Then here is the card I mentioned earlier when talking about bringing back Painful Choice. It is Macrocosmos. Bring it back to 3 so I can banish all my opponent's cards as they're going away. Next, Return from the Different Dimension, because it would be funny. And works really ironically with the other 2 cards that are for banishing. Then we have Royal Oppression. I read this and I see nothing, absolutely no reason for it to be banned. I'm sure some meta player out there is going to be like, oh, you can pull off this weird combo using cards that most people don't even know exist. Yay, good for you, you know things I don't. Self-destruct button, I understand all the rulings and the end-of-game procedure issues with this card. I don't care. I love the idea of being able to nuke my opponent if I absolutely have to, if I can't mill them or burn them enough. Sixth Sense, again, it's just random chance. I'm sure everyone would always choose like 5 and 6 so they get to draw the most, but it's a 2 in 6 chance of you getting the right number. So you're really not getting much out of that. Skill Drain, 2-3, again, because it's not that good. Time Seal to 3, because, wow, you skip your opponent's next draw phase, but they still get a draw in between each turn because there's no way to stack them. So that really wouldn't matter. Now, Trap Dust Shoot to 3. I actually think this would be a good card because it would be funny. Ultimate Offering, again, one of my favorite cards from the original sets. I ran it in all my decks because I didn't know a ban list even existed as a kid. Destroy your me. Yeah, it's just pay 500 life points, special summon a monster, basically. Well, normal summon or set one monster. Vanity's Emptiness, because neither player can special summon monsters. That's simple. That's why I don't like the extra deck currently. Wall of Revealing Light, because, let's be honest, who the hell cares? I mean, honestly, who cares? Who would run this? Who in their right mind would run this? Absolutely no one, because no one cares about attacking anymore. It's like, oh, I'm going to change this effect, this effect, this effect, this effect, this effect, this effect. You're playing solitaire now. Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to get back to a day where there's actually interaction and not just negate. No, you can't negate. I negate your negate. No, I negate your negate of my negate. No, I negate your negate of my negate of your negate. It's really annoying, and the new meta currently for like the last 3 years has been complete garbage. So let's reboard the whole damn thing. This is what needs to be done. Now, extra decks. We have ABC Dragon Buster to 3 because it should have never been hit to begin with. Starving Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom because, yes, it's strong, but compared to modern cards, it's not that strong. Psy Frame Lord Omega because, again, it's not strong in modern day. TC Hyper Librarian, again, not strong now. Tempest, again, not strong now. Now here, I can see how this could be a problem because it is a good card, but compared to cards nowadays, how is this any worse from any top tier meta deck? Tier 2, Tier 1, and Tier 0, this thing is about equivalent to Tier 2, like, maybe between Tier 2 and Tier 1, but it's no Tier 0 like other cards nowadays. Then we have Gusto Emerald to 3, because, yeah, I don't see a point for it being limited. Lavala Chain, again, to 3, because it doesn't really matter nowadays. It's not that good. It's too slow of a card. Totally Awesome to 3, because even at 2, it's not doing anything, so why not just put it to 3? Wind Up Carrier can go to 3 because there's no reason for it to be banned at this point. Wind Ups need more support again, in my opinion. I hate that they're being treated so badly. I actually enjoyed the Wind Up set. I didn't really play it much, but I enjoyed the art and the style. I would love to see new support for Wind Ups again. Then we have Zodiac Broad Bull to 3 because it needs it, and Zodiac Trident to 3. So yeah, there's my list. These are all the cards I believe could be put to 3, and most of them, yes, while some would be staples in every deck, most wouldn't be. Most would be seen in very scarce decks or 1 or 2 in each one. Most of these cards that have been banned would probably only see one copy in a lot of player decks. So it doesn't really matter. This would just really bring the game back to a better state, in my opinion. And yes, I am saying that, in my opinion, this, unlimiting all of these cards, would legitimately make the game better and more enjoyable at the current moment. Now, I hope y'all have enjoyed. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and I'm sure I'm going to get roasted alive for this video. But hey, I'm putting myself out there. This is my opinion. It's my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Content video. So yeah, this is what I believe should be unlimited in the next ban list of Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all again.